We're in England, hello, and we're going to look at some lovely things. This is an engraving, and it's characterised by quite crisp lines which are sliced into the metal engraving plate. The earlier ones would have been wooden, often. So it's engraving, it's an unusual looking picture. The lady has a very unusual forehead. The cloak is hanging off the side. It's got a medieval galleried look and rather curious ceiling, and that is actually medieval. This is the end of the medieval period, 1501, and it has a rather strange signature monogram. The monogram makes it look like a more Victorian item, but that is actually a genuine monogram from Master Zeisinger Matthäus of Germany, and this is laid paper, handmade paper, which has got ribs and panels in it. If you look at it against the light, you can see the texture. It is stuck to a piece of later paper, ordinary paper. So this has remarkable whiteness, and I was suspicious it was not real, but I've looked at the size. I've compared it with the ones in museums. I've only seen these in museums. There's one in the National Gallery of America, Washington. There's one in Carnegie collection, and which I think is in America as well, though Carnegie was Scottish. So there are some around, and I've been able to check the size. So it's the right size, it's the right image, and it is devoid of any sculptor information and origin information, picture information. That is the designer and the engraver, Master Z, and he has got a page. We've put a page up on our website showing a lot of his other works, and there's a lot of late medieval prints like that, but most of them are yellow. This is very white. So I was just thinking to myself, well, it must be fake. But it has got, apart from the right size and the right information on it, has got a impression mark in this margin, which shows it has been pressed. And I can think of no reason why that is not from 1501. There's a date 1501 at the top, and it is the same as the other ones held in the museums. I can't find a second edition, a second run, and it shows Solomon. It has two titles. It says Solomon's idolatry, otherwise Solomon worshipping false gods. So that's the picture, 1501, 520 years old. That's an very expensive piece of print on our website, if anyone is interested. If anyone knows more about it, please let me know. Next one is another really lovely thing. It stands out a mile as an interesting item. This is not on, oh, it is on laid paper as well, beg your pardon. Just check. It's on laid paper as well, handmade paper. This is a difficult one because I can't find that print anywhere other than on the front of the book, a modern book. And this original picture is a watercolour in the British Museum, a pen and ink, I beg your pardon, with colouring. And the one in the British Museum, the original by Hans Holbein the Younger, who lived 1497 to 1543. The original in the British Museum is identical and is exactly the same size down to the last millimetre. The Holbein original has no text at all, but it was a design for a stained glass window. I think this is, I might be wrong, so if anyone knows, please correct me. I think this is a mezzotint, a early form of print, where it gets the good blacks and graduated colour without the lines. And I think it's possible that this colour, which is exactly the same colour as on the original pen and ink, has been put on by hand. Or it's possible, I read, some mezzotints have 2 or 3 colours. There is a brown, there is a green. So that's again, a very expensive print due to its rarity. Okay, next. This one is a really interesting print as well. Fabulous thing. It looks pretty boring when you look at it. It's Jesus raising Lazarus, and there are a number of very similar ones, but this particular one with the sunburst in this arrangement and all the detail as it is, this one here is dated, was made 1758. It is the raising of Lazarus by Gaetano Zompini after a picture by Giovanni Benedetto Castiglione. It's an etching in sanguine. It's an etching in non-black, browny red, published by A.M. Zanetti. There's one in the Wellcome collection. There was one in the Lombard collection. There was one sold in Switzerland very recently for a lot of money. And so I know what it's worth, this one. And the thing about this picture here is, again, you've got a good size. It's laid paper. You've got these ribbed striped panels of how they make the paper. It's a sieve, effectively, to make the paper. There is a lovely impression mark around the sides in 3D, so we know it's not a sort of modern facsimile. It's been pressed out. It's the right size again, comparing it to the other ones. But the thing about this print, which is really unusual, it's got a very special watermark, which I won't be able to show you. It's on the website. It is a watermark of 3 crescents. I might be able to show you actually if I press on this here. 3 crescents. You can't see it unless you hold it up to light. You cannot see it from the front. And there are some numerals, and I don't know what they are. I, M, L, B, A, I don't know. Latinized numerals. And I read that the reason it's got 3 crescents, which are often known as tres lunes or trois lunes, the reason it's got the 3 crescents, it's Ottomans, obviously very much an Ottoman symbol, is because the Venetians were geographically quite close to Turkey and over there, the Middle East, Near East. And when they were trading with Islamic countries, they had to show some sort of, pay some sort of attention to the fact they're not Christian. So you have a situation where a Venetian printer would make the paper, make the design, make the picture, and then they would ship it off to, due to the fact it has this mark, they would ship it off to the Ottomans, perhaps. And I don't think it's a case of the paper being made by the Ottomans. I think that's unlikely, though possible. I think it is just a sort of passport type mark to enable, probably by agreement, the Venetians to sell their stuff in Turkey or in the Ottoman Empire or the further Middle or Near East. I haven't been able to find out all about it. So because of the watermark, because it is a sanguine, and because it is a nice big etching, again, that is a hellishly expensive piece of printing. Okay, we've shown you our favourite things. The favourite has to be for me out of the 3. This one from 1501. This is a super museum quality item. We bought another lot of engravings. We've got 150 coming in, another lot. Actually, it's more than that, 350 pieces coming in the next week or so. We'll be going through those as well, picking out what we think is good. Okay, thank you.